Okay, so it's become clear that we're not quite sure what a scale factor is or how to figure it out. Um, Even though we practice, I don't think I made it clear. So this little mini lesson is to help make it clear. So we're doing a scale factor mini lesson. Our objective is for students to be able to find the factor from a given dilation. So the dilation has already been done. And now we just have to figure out what is the scale factor. Now, that's our first vocab word, scale factor. We know that dilations make shapes bigger or smaller. That's an O, sorry. A scale factor tells you how much bigger or smaller the figure has gotten. So, scale factor tells you how much bigger or smaller a figure has gotten after a dilation. So is it twice as big? Is it 3 times as big? Is it 1.5 times as big? Is it half as small? So that's what a scale factor does. And I'm going to break this down for you in steps because I never really did that. And usually I do. So I'm going to try to give this to you in steps and hopefully it will make more sense. So we're going to write how to find the scale factor. Step 1. We're going to measure a straight side of the smaller figure. It has to be straight, can't be a diagonal side. And this is going to be the numerator in our fraction. I thought these lines would continue. It looks like they're going to stop, but that's okay. Do you have to start with the smallest figure? No, I'm just trying to pick something that we can do every time, okay? You can start with a larger figure if you want. Other than that, everything else is going to be the same. So pick a straight side, measure the smaller figure, make that your numerator. Step 2. Sorry that there's no lines anymore. You're going to measure the corresponding side of the larger figure. And that is going to be your denominator. Step 3. Now you have a fraction, and you need to make that fraction smaller if you can. So we're going to reduce if needed. That means divide and make the fraction smaller if you can. Step 4. Now this is the step where I think I confused you guys because we were doing it, but I didn't really explain what we were doing. So step 4, you're going to write the 2 options for the scale factor. And I use capital S, capital F for scale factor because I don't write it out every time. But sometimes you guys don't know what I'm doing. So when you see SF, I'm talking about scale factor. And so how do you know what the 2 options are? So the fraction you wrote is the first option. That one we know. The second one was tripping you guys up. You flip the fraction over for the second option. So flip the fraction over for the second option. I'm going to do an example after, so if the words don't make sense, I'm going to connect the words to an example. So if your fraction was 2 over 3, the other option would be to flip that over and get 3 over 2. So we can write that. So 2/3, or there's always two options for scale factor. Okay, so that's step 4. Figure out your two options. Step 5, you need to ask yourself, did the pre-image get bigger or smaller? If it got bigger, choose the fraction that's greater than 1. And if it got smaller, choose the fraction that's less than 1. And in case we don't know what those symbols mean. Okay, so now let's try it out. We're going to go through those steps. And it goes by really quickly. It's a lot to write, but it's not really a lot to do. So here's our example. Okay, so say we have this figure here, which is, we'll call A. And we have this figure here, which we'll call A prime. Okay, and this, let me pause while I do. Okay, sorry for the terrible drawing, but so we're going to do step 1. It says measure a straight side of the smaller figure. So 1, 2, that's the numerator. Measure the corresponding side of the larger figure. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the denominator. Oh, wait, hold on. I'll do that as step 2. That's the denominator. Step 3 says reduce if you can. Well, I have 2 over 6. I can divide both of those by 2. So my new fraction is 1/3. Step 4 says to write the two options. Well, it's 1/3, or if I flip that over, it's 3. 3 over 1 is the same as 3. Okay. Step 5 says ask yourself, did it get bigger or smaller? Well, I have A going to A prime, right? A prime means it's the second one. This got smaller, so I'm going to pick the smaller fraction, the one that's less than 1. So this scale factor is 1/3. Okay? We're going to do one more just to make sure it makes sense. Okay, so example 2. Step 1, measure a straight side of the smaller figure. So I'm going to measure this side right here. It's 2. Step 2, measure the corresponding side of the larger figure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5. That's the denominator. Step 3, reduce if needed. I cannot reduce. There's nothing I can divide by. This is as small as it gets, so it stays 2 over 5. Step 4, write the two options. So it's either this fraction, or if I flip it over, it's 5 over 2. Step 5, did the shape get bigger or smaller? We started with A and we went to A prime. It got bigger. I need to pick which one of these is greater than 1, and it's 5/2. So this scale factor is 5 over 2, or 5/2. That is how you find scale factor. That's also how you figure out if the sides are proportional, if they all have the same number. But yes, that is how you find the scale factor. I hope this now makes a little more sense.